Welcome back to Anfield Fan Jury. In this video, we're going to talk about an article on The Athletic, and it's to do with Mohamed Salah. So I've been reading quite a lot on X. Some people are for what Mohamed Salah said, and others are against. Some have said that he should have waited until the end of the season, and others have said that he shouldn't have said anything at all. My personal opinion is, I agree with what he's saying, but the timing was probably wrong. It's his last game for the club this Sunday, isn't it? And now people are saying it should Arne Slot start him after bad-mouthing Arne Slot. Well, he didn't mention Arne Slot, did he? He basically just said, you know, what he thought. But for me, he was definitely aiming at Arne Slot. So the main five journalists at The Athletic is Oliver Kay, James Pearce, Colin O'Neill, Andy Jones and Greg Evans. Now they were all asked one question: should Arne Slot drop Mohamed Salah for his Liverpool farewell? And I want you to answer this question as well in the comment section. So as we know, this feature is about you. It's about what you think. That's why it says on the overlay, community verdict in progress. I want you to have a debate in the comment section. Obviously, I don't want anyone to get nasty because the comment will just be removed straight away. But I do want you to have a friendly debate. Was Mohamed Salah wrong at doing it when he did? And should he play on Sunday against Brentford at Anfield? So here we go with this article. This was supposed to be a week of celebration for Mohamed Salah and Liverpool. The announcement in March that this would be the Egyptians' final season on Merseyside teed up this Sunday's game against Brentford at Anfield to be a golden goodbye to one of the club's and Premier League's greatest ever players. I would totally agree with that. For me, I would say he is the Premier League's greatest player. I mean, he's scored more goals and assists than Cristiano Ronaldo. He's scored more goals than the majority of the strikers, wingers in the Premier League, maybe apart from Alan Shearer. Instead, another public outburst from Salah last weekend, this time the most thinly veiled of attacks on Slot's style of play, has created an awkward question for the head coach and club executives. How do they handle the forwards' farewell now? Wayne Rooney, for one, believes Liverpool should drop Salah from the matchday squad for the Brentford game, but that is a risky strategy when so much of that occasion will focus on saying goodbye to him and Andy Robertson and hopefully Arne Slot and hopefully Richard Hughes and hopefully Michael Edwards. I'm hoping that's all their last game. That isn't what it says in the article, by the way. That's just my opinion. We asked 5 of the Athletic's writers for their verdicts on how the club should handle a treacherous situation. So we'll start with Oliver Kay. First of all, the idea that every great player gets a rapturous sending off feels a little naive. Everyone wants a perfect ending, but in reality, circumstances and strained relationships often dictate otherwise. Second, the idea that a messy goodbye would in some way tarnish Salah's legacy is absurd. 20 years on, how many people remember Sir Alex Ferguson axing Ruud van Nistelrooy from the squad for what would have been his final game for Manchester United? That doesn't shape Van Nistelrooy's legacy at Old Trafford. It's a footnote, nothing more. Third, pragmatically, I really don't think it's worth Slot going to war over this. As much as Salah's words were loaded and I felt he was pointing the finger at underperforming teammates, some of whom have liked his Instagram post as well as the coach, They didn't strike me as something that merited disciplinary action. What would Slot gain from leaving him out on Sunday? Authority? I really don't think so. Denying Salah a farewell appearance will go down badly amongst most of the other players and terribly against the supporters. Finally, it's also regrettable. This time last year, after winning the Premier League in Slot's first season in charge, Liverpool looked so unified. With hindsight, that would have been the perfect time for Salah to ride off into the sunset. This season, he has been an unidentifying struggle for all concerned. Whatever his frustration, Salah's declining contribution both on and off the ball, is among numerous reasons why talk of playing heavy metal football is pie in the sky. Whatever happens in his final week as a Liverpool player, his legacy at Anfield is set in stone. It would be nice to think that would be embellished by this perfect send-off, but in football you don't always get to say goodbye on your own terms. So next we've got James Pearce. Arne Slot has to bite his lip and start Mohamed Salah. The Dutchman already had enough on his plate without the third highest goal scorer in the club's history adding to the negativity with his incendiary social media post following the dismal 4-2 defeat to Aston Villa. But either leaving Salah on the bench or out of the squad completely would be completely self-defeating. Regardless of how their relationship has deteriorated over the course of the season, Slot needs to look at the bigger picture. Supporters will be there on Sunday to show their appreciation for two departing legends in Salah and Robertson. Their presence on the field will be celebrated with fans parking their frustration and anger over the season as a whole to ensure they get the emotion-fueled send-off their services deserved. Imagine the reaction if Salah was to be denied that opportunity. The atmosphere would be toxic before a ball had even been kicked. Slot is bound to feel down by how Salah has conducted himself. He would be within his right to point out that Salah has been part of standards slipping so significantly over the past 9 months. But a war of words only serves to harm the club further, regardless of whether Liverpool need a positive result to secure Champions League football or not. Salah has to be on that right flank one more time. Andy Jones. Salah has put his head coach in a no-win situation. And let's be frank, Slot's position has increasingly shifted towards no win anyway because of results, performances and fan base frustration. If he leaves Salah out of the squad, it will only stoke the flames of supporter discontent towards him. If he picks him, it will arguably undermine his authority as the head coach, although the Egyptian international statement effectively did that. In interviews released at the start of this month, while out injured, Salah was adamant he would be back for the final game against Brentford, but after a minor cameo against Aston Villa, his fitness levels would probably dictate if he's on the bench or starts. The problem Slot has from a purely footballing sense is that Liverpool's attack outside of 17-year-old Rio Ngamoa has been blunt in recent matches, with Alexander Isak, Hugo Ekitike and Florian Wirtz also missing. If Bournemouth keep their Champions League qualification hopes alive against Manchester City, playing Salah is best for the team. He has been one of a number of underperformers this season, but he is a much better option on right wing than a combination of Jeremy Frimpong and Curtis Jones. The mood inside Anfield has understandably increased in negativity as the season has progressed. To prevent further disintegration, Slot must just have to bite the bullet for a player who will no longer be his problem after Sunday. After all, Salah is the type of player who could well produce a vintage performance in his final game for the club. I think he will. I think if Salah starts, I think he'll get a couple. Well, I hope he does. He's got to be better than Frimpong. Frimpong has been shocking this season. Greg Evans, apply all the pressure back on the attacker and let him show for one last time just how important he thinks he is to this team. Liverpool need to end the season with a win to guarantee Champions League football, and if Salah is as influential as he still believes, he'll produce the goods and depart with the send-off he deserves. On the back of recent results and the continued injury list, Salah probably makes the strongest starting lineup anyway, so Slot needs to take a deep breath and focus on that. And finally, Comini O'Neill, I can't pronounce his name, guys, I'm sorry. If Slot was to not include Salah, it could seal his own exit along with the Egyptians. It would only further enrage a fan base no longer completely sold on the Dutchman. It is far from ideal timing that a social media mutiny against the manager has been launched by an outgoing senior player who gets to walk away on Sunday no matter what happens. Salah said in December he felt he had been thrown under the bus by Liverpool for a lack of game time in a season when he is simply not at his best. Slot dropped him after the outburst, but to do so now would be the wrong decision. For Salah not to be on the bus at all, and the team coach gets to Anfield this Sunday, would only further darken the already low Anfield mood. Slot has to rise above it all. I would go all in and just start Salah. If he wants to be the hero one final time, let him try. And when his race is run, bring him off to receive the applause and celebration his Anfield career deserves. Liverpool fans have had very little to celebrate this season, but waving goodbye to icons like Salah and Robertson in the proper way, plus a win to qualify for next season's Champions League, will mean a rubbish season ends in a more positive note. So there you go, guys. What's your thoughts? Me personally, I'm torn. I think Salah was silly doing it before the end of the season. I think if he'd have done it on Monday, say, Monday coming up, then people wouldn't have, it wouldn't have really mattered, would it? But the fact it's before his farewell, did he look at it as a goodbye gift? Either way, I think he was silly. He shouldn't have done it when he did. And Arne Slot is within his rights. I mean, he's slagging him off. That'll go. That statement, his interview in this November, December time after the Leeds draw, that'll go down on his record. He is tarnishing possibly Arne Slot's career. As a manager, will he ever manage a big club again after what's happened this season with Salah, the way we've played? There's a lot to think about, isn't there? But I want you to answer this question for me. Will Mohamed Salah start on Sunday? And would you blame Slot if he didn't start him? That's it for this video. Take it easy.